outcry. You're scared to outcry. You're scared to yell because you're scared of the Hamas. You're scared of the PLO. I want to hear you yell and outcry and say that that's wrong.
No, it doesn't.
After 46 years exile in America, the Palestinian historian Hisham Sharabi returns home and confronts his adversaries.
Are you scared to stand here in front of me? I'm one of the most extreme. Are you scared of me?
And Amos Oz, Israel's most renowned novelist, meets the enemies his people have fought with for half a century. Assignment brought these two writers together just as their peoples emerged from decades of mutual hatred. On September the 13th, Palestinian and Israeli leaders took the first steps to reconciliation with the Washington Peace Accord. Looking into this new chapter, Assignment asks whether a handshake so heavy with history will finally bring peace to a land so bitterly divided.
When I got the invitation from the BBC, I had long decided not to go back to Palestine. It would have broken my heart to see my home in Jaffa.
Will you please not stamp the passport?
The signing of the agreement, which took place a few days after the call, had a tremendous impact on me. I thought that for the first time, and probably for the last time, there is now a chance for a breakthrough.
أول شيء نهديك هاي قبل ما تفوت من نباتات بلادنا
وخروا وعطرة وياسمين.
The reason I decided to participate in this film was not my urge to explain to the viewers that we Israelis are not bad, we are good, and the Palestinians are not good, they are bad. It was the urge to convey the tragic depth of this particular conflict. This one is a clash between right and right. This one is a clash between two peoples who love the country, between two people who have nowhere else to go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome.
How are you?
Very good to meet you.
Good to see you. You have a much better view here than we have.
And the sea looks the same?
The sea looks exactly the same. The waves are as I remember them.
So we have not spoiled the sea, at least that.
I'll have to look a bit closer.
So you and I are going to speak a great deal about sadness and about different interpretations of the past, but I hope we will leave some time for the future and talk about the future.
The future is the important part.
I think so.
To understand the future, we must both listen to each other's stories. When I left in 1947 at the age of 19, I expected to return soon. But war broke out between us and the Jews. We call 1948 the catastrophe. Israel was created. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, including my family, lost their homes.
What would have happened to your family if they stayed, Hisham?
They would have been driven out.
From Jaffa?
Yes, yes. I mean, they wouldn't let them. We know of many instances in which people tried to stay, but they were forced out. I mean, it's not true in most cases that people left because they were told to leave, because they were promised protection, that they will come back. No doubt some did. But the vast majority left in panic. They were disorganized, they didn't have military means to defend themselves, and they were confronted with what we know now was a militarily vastly superior adversary. I recognized my old street immediately. It was the first time I had laid eyes on it in 46 years.
My stomach was like a hard knot. I was looking back at my house and everything came rushing back to me. I mean, my father and my brothers and mother and sisters. They could have been still there. I could have all these years led a normal life.
What can I say?
I think this was here when we lived here. I think this was here.
Same plant. What is it called in Arabic?
Yasmin.
Yasmin. It's called the same in Hebrew. This is Yasmin.
It smells so beautiful at night. Let's look at the street here.
The truth is that Jaffa is now a rundown suburb of Tel Aviv. It was painful trying to reconstruct my Jaffa out of the ruins.
What saddens me about being here is seeing Jaffa at once still as it was when I left here in 47, and at the same time so totally transformed. It used to be the center of a thriving society, culturally, economically, artistically. It was the center of Palestinian life, like Alexandria and Beirut. But by now, had it continued, I suppose it would have been the prime cultural center of the Arab world.
The Palestinian catastrophe was our war of independence. We have always felt like David in this conflict, surrounded by 200 million Arabs who wanted to kill us. I felt this fear from my boyhood in Jerusalem. I was born here, right up the street. And I lived here, Hisham, for the first 12 years of my life. This is a neighborhood which is right now very ultra-Orthodox, but in my time, these were secular, lower middle-class Jewish refugees from Eastern Europe. My parents came from Russia and Poland. And the reason they came here is that anti-Semitism became unbearable and no one wanted them. My father tells me that when he was a kid, the whole of Europe, Eastern Europe, was covered with graffitis, Jews go to Palestine. In the 60s, the whole of Europe was covered with graffitis, Jews out of Palestine. Just think of the irony of this. So where do we go? No one ever wanted us anywhere as a people. As individuals, yes, but not as a people. This Palestinian recognition of Israel in return for Israeli recognition of Palestine is so significant to us because for the first time, after tragedy, bloodshed, suffering, we have the feeling that you are, with clenched teeth perhaps, you are accepting us as a people, not just as a religious sect, funny religious sect, one of many. I don't remember anymore, Hisham, but my feet still remember the way to visit the neighbors upstairs. I used to clap this. Go upstairs and see the neighbors. And I still could do this with my eyes closed after more than 40 years.
These were the same pipes?
The same pipeline. My fingers remember it. It's exactly the same pipeline. Water pipeline.
Now be careful coming
Yes,
down.
I will.
Because this is
I know it's
not
unstable,
stable.
like the rest of the Middle East. Like everything, it's unstable.
Can you put there's sugar on it?
זה סוכר או מלח?
מלח.
It's salt.
I mean,
יש לך סוכר גם? salt, כן. תשים לו קצת מלח.
You want some?
Not now, I have to do some work. I have to talk to some of these uncles. Let's walk and try and see what happens. I was eager that Hisham should listen to the views of other Israelis. The street is divided between hopes and fears. It is not easy to give hard-won territory to bitter enemies.
For real peace, I will give back pieces of Israel. For a real peace, that we are sure that will be peace.
זה רק חלקים מסוימים, שאר החלקים ממשיכים בטרור. דהיינו שלגבינו דם יהודי נשפך.
You are talking to a Palestinian intellectual from America.
Fine.
And
I'm not intellectual, I'm telling you. All I am, I'm a person that is afraid to travel. Every time I travel, I'm shaking like this. I get home, I say, thanks God for being alive. Is that normal to live like this? It's not normal. And people like you are not afraid to go home. I would never, ever, ever, ever throw a rock on someone, ever.
Wouldn't this stop if you have peace?
No, what peace? Come on, who are you kidding? Who's going to make peace with us? There's no such thing as peace.
Jerusalem has been the focus of Jewish faith and the heart of the land of Israel for 3,000 years. The Wailing Wall is the holiest place for the Jewish people.
אני לא מפחד, כל העולם שלי, 200 נפשות הולכים שיש, ככה היא נראה, האח שלי, ככה נראה, זה אותה אח, אני לא, ב-BBC, לכל מקום, ארץ שלנו, אין מה לדבר, איפה ילדים, 6 מיליון יהודים, זה כאן נמצאים, כל 6 מיליון יהודים, הפתח שלך שבמקום אחר, אין מה לעשות, רוצח, בבקשה, תפסיק את זה, תפסיק בצורת החיים, זה אותה אח, תסתכל, איזה אח, כל המשפחה, מה, זה, תסתכלו. Muslims and Christians also have profound claims in Jerusalem. Beneath the Wailing Wall, we can all trace our roots. Down here, I can feel the weight of history, the weight of religion, the weight of faith, and in some ways also the weight of fanaticism.
For us now, the time has come to exercise the critical interpretation, not only of the other's history, but of our own as well, and see that we are not dealing with positions that can be subjected to any resolution of historical claims. This is the smell of decay.
This is the smell of time. This is the smell of time itself. It's the same smell inside the pyramids. It depends how much rain there is. And then it's known as the tears of the wall, as if the Wailing Wall is wailing back at the wailers. But I'm nervous about the future. I know that for so many millennia, really, for so many hundreds of years, this city, which is called Yerushalayim, the city of peace, had been the cause of so much bloodshed over the possession of the stones. It is almost a theological question which I cannot answer, I can only present it. Why should the love to Jerusalem be manifested through possessiveness? Maybe it's not just a question about Jerusalem. Why should any human love be manifested in possession? If I love it, I have to have it, and exclusively.
It's wonderfully put. So when we come to the political level about Jerusalem, we're going to have a very important, serious, complex
question. Do you think there's a possible solution for it?
I think, Hisham, the solution would have to be a very imaginative and inventive solution, because we are dealing with symbols and with emotions, whereas the rest of the conflict is essentially real estate, property, land. Here it is emotion, symbol, and faith. I have to confess to you, Hisham, of all the compromises I, as an Israeli, am asked to make, Jerusalem is emotionally the hardest one. It hurts most. I was born in this city. I was raised with the deep feeling that Jerusalem is the focal point of the Jewish faith, tradition, culture, and longing. Jerusalem is Israel. Of course, I knew there are other people here, and they should have personal and civil rights. This is a city where for hundreds of years there had been a solid Jewish majority. Even now, as I see the PLO flag waving over Jerusalem, and it's only waving for a few days now, it hurts.
Well, we should be going on to the old school any minute now. My heart is pounding. I went to the French school near Jerusalem for 3 memorable years. It was a great moment for me to take Amos there. سلامات. كيف الأحوال؟ زين. الحمد لله على السلامة بفلسطين. أهلا وسهلا بك. هلا بيك. خليني أعرفك على بروفيسور أوز.
Shalom, how are you?
Shalom, how are you? I'm Khalil Mahshi. Pleased to meet you. Dr. Mahshi.
This is an honor for us that you're here. I've just been telling our students about you.
Good morning. I hope you would not find it difficult to tell an Israeli, why are you against peace? I really need to know.
Fine.
Tell me, please.
Well, after the Intifada happened and all our, people were dead and all of that, why should we settle for something that they wanted? They died for a whole Palestinian state. They gave up their lives in one day for their kids or their kids' kids to have a home, a Palestinian home.
Okay, the PLO recognized an Israeli state, okay? How come the Israeli state cannot recognize the Palestinian state? They just recognize the PLO.
Do I hear two voices among the people who are against the peace? Namely, the two of you said practically that there should be no Israel, because Israel is based on injustice and therefore it should simply go away and give room to a whole Palestine.
No, we didn't say that. We want, we're happy that there's a peace agreement. We should have Israel and Palestine, but it's just not what we thought we
would.
It's
not what my parents told me would happen in the future.
Yeah, it's not.
And why should I sit side by somebody who might have killed my grandfather,
our flesh and blood.
my dad, my brother? Why should I do that?
Now the tears and the losses of your grandparents and of mine, mind you, we have also paid dearly for what we regard as an unjust Arab attack on Israel the day the state was born. Before we...
They had already... The girls didn't give Amos an easy time. And with me, they showed concern that the future Palestinian state would be a true democracy. Do you think women will be running for elections to the National Council?
Gave a pretty positive role of women involved in politics, especially with the Palestinians and the Arab-Israeli conflict. I feel that there will be a lot more women represented in politics, especially with what happens in Palestine.
Are we really going to have elections where it's equal to everybody, to women and to guys?
Briefly, what presumably will happen is a constitution will be agreed on, and the manner in which a president would be stipulated by law, and then elections of the president will happen. The title of Mr. Arafat now as president is more or less honorary. It's symbolic.
Those Jewish settlers who came here to be the masters cannot be here. They will not be the masters. Those Jews who, for religious reasons, are ready to live in Palestine and comply with Palestinian law, I think you should enable them to stay for religious reasons, just as there will always be a Palestinian Arab minority inside Israel forever.
The 130,000 Israeli settlers in the West Bank and Gaza are a major problem. They will simply have to come to terms with the new reality of Palestinian sovereignty.
He is a recent immigrant in a settlement.
They're demonstrating here in Jericho. This is where Arafat is going to set up his government in the new year.
The world doesn't care. We feel that the attitude to give the Palestinian people at this time a right to have an army, have a police force is something very dangerous. It's something inhumane. It's something wrong, and that's what we came here to cry out, that we are not going to let something like this happen. The people that live here have a right to live here and are very, very strong.
Don't you have trust in your government?
No.
Well, then that's your problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the biggest problem. I don't trust the authority of the Palestinians. I wouldn't trust the man who, his men, under his order, smashed the head of a 6-month-old baby in Area. You know this very well. He should be tried as war criminal, not shake his hand with my prime minister.
If you keep repeating this,
yes,
there will be no peace.
No, there would be no war criminals.
Well,
that would be. They should be executed for this.
You don't want to have peace with the Palestinians?
Yes, but first to execute Arafat, then to have peace. And all the terrorists together.
Okay.
My husband here has served in the territories, and it's unbelievable how inhumane your own people can be to your own.
I can deal with them. I mean, I can give and take, and all the outrage and hatred and stereotyping, I think has collapsed in me. I mean, I'm probably rid of that. I can sit and listen with total calmness to a fanatical extremist without projecting on him or her my feeling of hatred and my rage.
I was feeling for the immense hopelessness of those fanatics. I was sorry for them. I vehemently disagreed with them, but I understood their feelings all the way. There was not one sentiment expressed by those angry and hysterical people which I did not understand and which I have not emotionally shared at some point in my life in the past. If you really love the land, if you really have a deep religious feeling for the land that you claim you have, then love it unconditionally. Then love it even if the masters of that part of the land are going to be the Palestinian people.
Many Israelis today are not in touch with reality. Many Israelis, both on the left and on the right, live in a kind of a dream about this peace and what it means to speak person to person between an Arab and a Jew within the context of the political issues, the terrible questions of who is going to control the water rights, who is going to control the sources of energy, resources of energy. How many Palestinian policemen will there be, and what kind of ammunition will they have? And how much sovereignty, how much power will they have over my life and the life of my children?
The Palestinians were caught in your history without wanting to be, and they suffered terribly as a result. It's a dangerous thing to happen to anyone. It has been in the past. But we didn't choose to be part of your history.
I think that the Palestinians would have listened to us and considered our case 50 or 60 or 70 years ago. Not a single Palestinian, including yourself, would have been forcibly dispossessed and displaced by the Israelis or by the Zionists.
If the settlers in Judea and Samaria are removed from their settlements, there will be a tremendous chasm within Israeli society. The Jews who leave their settlements will feel that they're in exile, and they will always want to come back. I will always dream and tell my children, Shiloh is my home. Not only my home, my future. Not my future, my destiny. My prophetic destiny.
The brunt on this interchange falls upon those who came from outside and displaced the Palestinians, fought them, killed them, destroyed their homes, occupied them, humiliated them, broke their bones. This coming phase is the phase, if we're both lucky, in which the Palestinians would ask questions. You would give answers. Just across the valley from the Israeli settlement of Tekoa is Tekoa, the Palestinian village.
If we go back to the origin of the problem, I think we have to remove the settlement. I think we have to remove them because security, if we are talking about peace, now we have security. If there is peace, there is security. We don't need them for security. And if they talk about the homeless people, I think you have enough space inside.
Once you people are ready to accept the fact that Israel is my home, that I never had another home in the world, or my parents or my grandparents, they had never had any land that they could call home. Once you accept this, everything is possible, including the two-state solution.
I think most of the people here, the settlers, are extremists. And then we'll have this confrontation or whatever, I prefer just to ask them.
I understand. It is agreed that those people will have, in my view, to decide either to change completely their ideology or to go.
I think it's difficult for them to change.
I know. If they can't change their ideology, they will go.
Both Amos and I agreed that the next stop had to be Gaza.
Prime Minister Rabin said quite recently, with an unfortunate slip of the tongue, I would like to wake up one morning and see Gaza vanish into the sea. Most Israelis maintain that it's pointless for us to rule Gaza. But Gaza won't disappear.
We changed cars before driving into the refugee camps because despite the peace accords, it is still too dangerous to travel around Gaza in a vehicle with Israeli number plates. You are liable to be stoned, or worse. Have you been to any of the refugee camps?
Several years ago, I have frequented most of the refugee camps in Gaza, but obviously not in the last years. It would be too dangerous for me to set foot here.
This is the better part, I suppose.
When I was in Gaza, I felt insecure because there are many Palestinians, even now, who would kill any Israeli. There is a lot of hatred there.
I always knew that Gaza was a hellhole, that it was a refugee center of misery and stench, but it was all that and more. This gentleman to your right is there to be a sort of bodyguard. There's no immediate threat to your safety, but to keep harm away, inconvenience away, the little children.
Very reassuring.
So that explains his presence.
Sadness and compassion is what I felt in Gaza and the refugee camps. Gaza is like a patient in a serious condition that would not let anyone treat it for a long time. The Arab governments would not let anyone improve the living conditions of the refugees in Gaza, and the Palestinians themselves wanted to leave the refugee camps in their miserable condition. Now, with the present agreement, it is possible to start healing these wounds.
The first thing that hits you is that awful stench, and the dust, the dirt, the unwashed people. And I think to myself, 45 years of this, 24 hours a day, what would I have done? To me, it's torture. I mean, this is torture, to live this way. If the Israelis just stood out there, did nothing to the Palestinians, did not come in and beat them up and broke their bones and humiliated them. If the Israeli has just left them live like this, it's inhuman. It's enough to kill a man. You don't have to shoot him. Down the street, I was surprised, but I shouldn't have been. The man in the first house we visited was a refugee from my hometown, Jaffa.
I wanted to ask my hosts, what exactly would they regard as justice?
العدالة هي إحقاق الحقوق المشروعة للشعب الفلسطيني وإقامة دولته المستقلة بدون أي وصاية من أحد، سواء كان الشعب الإسرائيلي أو الشعب الأمريكي أو أي شعب، لأنه حق، إحنا شعب من حقنا نعيش ومن حقنا يحكم نفسه بنفسه. إحنا شعب مضطهد لنا فوق 100 سنة، ما عمرنا حكمنا أنفسنا بأنفسنا إلا كانت الشعوب تحكمنا.
والله إذا هذا الكلام اللي متفقين عليه في نص على التقسيم 47 وال 48 وكل إنسان يأخذ حقوقه بصير سلام. إذا إسرائيل بدها سلام.
لكن كل سلام مع هذا، كل سلام له ثمن، ولازم يكون ثمن باهظ من الطرفين.
When you think of that man from Jaffa that we interviewed, he must have been around my age when he left, perhaps in his early 20s. He said that he left Jaffa for a few weeks, expecting to go back. Looking at him, there he was 46 years later, and still thinking about Jaffa. There's a crushed spirit. It could easily have been me. That's all that's left to him, to appeal to God and to take solace in religion. I can see how the militant Islamic group Hamas was born here out of these years of suffering and frustration. And I can see why they reject a compromise of a state in just the West Bank and Gaza. The Palestinian flags flying over the refugee huts, tens and probably hundreds of them, fluttering in the wind, they represented a cry of liberation. It was a way of saying that hope is here again, and the future has a promise. That made me happy for a fleeting moment.
Other positive signs are also emerging. Even though the army is still chasing them, certain armed PLO groups like the Black Panthers are expressing willingness to make peace with Israel.
I'm excited by the idea that I'm here today as a guest of the PLO. This is something that I wouldn't have dreamt of in the past.
I need to make peace with those Black Panthers and other groups precisely because they are my enemies. And I don't think I have the option of choosing my enemies.
يعطيكم العافية. نرحب بكم في عرين الفهد الأسود قرية كفر الراعي. وثانيا حقيقة كما قالها الأخ القائد أبو عمار أن إسرائيل إن كانت معنية بعملية السلام فعليها تنفيذ هذا على أرض الواقع، لكن الحقيقة أننا نحن كرجال فهد أسود نطالب بالسلام للحفاظ على أرواحنا ومثل باقي أبناء شعبنا، لكن لن نستخدم السلاح إلا فقط دفاعا عن النفس.
Do you still regard us Israelis as enemies or not?
بالنسبة لسؤال الأستاذ إنه إحنا كمجموعة فهد أسود بنعتبر الشعب الإسرائيلي كعدو، هذا المنطلق أو هذا المفهوم أصبح شيء لا يذكر بالنسبة لمجموعة الفهد الأسود.
أحب أضيف كلام زميلي، لو كنا برضو يعني معلش نعتبره كعدو كان رفضنا نقعد مع هاي القعدة. فمنطلق أن احنا بنعتبره كأخ يعني، بالذات بعد مبادرة السلام، فتوافقنا على الجلوس مع هاي القعدة وتخرف معه زي ما بده.
I want to appeal to you as soldier to soldiers. I hope there will be no more fighting. I hope very soon you will be out of this gear and possibly in Palestinian official uniform. But whatever happens in the future, try to avoid harming unarmed civilians. And as I said, I hope there will be no more fighting in the future.
ونريد هذا الشيء تطبيقا على أرض الواقع. نحن لسنا إرهابيين، ولكن لكل نتيجة سبب، وسبب أننا وصلنا لهذه المرحلة هو ضغط الاحتلال علينا والعمليات القتل والتعذيب ضد أبناء شعبنا. لو لم يكن هذا السبب لما وصلنا في هذه الحالة التي بها نحن الآن، إذ نجلس معكم وكلنا أمل أن تقوم الدولة الفلسطينية ونخلق هذا اللثام الذي هو يعبر عن تراث وعادات وتقاليد أبناء شعب كامل، ونعيش بحرية وأمان نحن والشعب الإسرائيلي.
طيب يا شباب، موفقين وإن شاء الله بنشوفكم عن قريب.
See you in peace, in full peace.
الله معكم.
This truce with the Palestinians is all well and good, but it will only work in a comprehensive settlement between Israel and the Arab world. Syria could be the next step, but this means a compromise on the Golan Heights. The problem here is one of security. As you see, the heights dominate Galilee. We have already fought 3 wars to repel Syrian aggression on these slopes. Kibbutz Merom Golan is right on the Syrian border. But as Israel is now ready to do a deal on the Golan, the kibbutzniks must face the possibility that soon Syrians may be picking their apples.
I cannot see the reason to lose homes in peace. It's by decision, not by war.
I believe that for a real peace, it doesn't matter who will pick here in this orchard apples, if it will be a Syrian or a Jewish person.
The peace that we are going to have here, we hope all, will be for many, many years a peace of balance of powers. And we won't have balance of powers in the north, not the Israeli, and I believe not the Palestinians, if Syria sit in this place.
Believe me, the Syrians are like everybody else. They have the bad and the good. They are hospitable and generous, and they want peace as much as you do. When you ask something of them, you have also to give them something. At this moment, you're sitting on their land. They can see you. They can see you from here. And now, I realize how difficult it is. It's very brave and courageous and generous of you to say what you did for peace. To me, this is humanism. This is liberalism. This is the spirit of the future.
My days with Hisham Sharabi are a very special experience for me. it is the first time, camera or no camera, that I found myself engaged, not in an argument with a Palestinian, but in a conversation with a Palestinian. A conversation which I feel went way beyond the obvious question of who is to blame, way beyond the question of who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. We had engaged ourselves in an attempt to really understand each other's point of view. In a way, I think we were atoning for the sins of the former generation, of his parents and my parents. I have personally fought on the Golan Heights in 1973, and I need not tell you that this is an experience I would like never to have to repeat, and I'd like for my children never to have to repeat this terrifying experience. I can tell you some simple truism. Next to losing a battle, winning a battle is a terrible thing to me. Almost exactly 20 years ago, in October 73, I fought this spot. This is where the fighting had begun for me and for my friends. About 100 died. They are all on the monument there. It's extremely peaceful right now. Very peaceful. Very, very peaceful.
I like him very much. He's the kind of person I would like to have in my house and to have as a friend. I've never dealt with Israelis except those who were my colleagues. Now I've seen all types of Israelis. And it's an experience for me. I mean, these people are, some of them are really wonderful. From now on, I will be coming back here. I mean, the ice has been broken. What I feel is that peace is possible, reconciliation is possible, and we can rebuild our society. The Palestinians can rebuild their society, which has been destroyed 50 years ago.